What the Victorians left behind, many of us still call home. But the architecture of that very different era could be hiding behind its doors the risk of Britain slipping back to a time of two nations, that Victorian age gap between mainstream society and an impoverished underclass. Not some tiny minority either, but more than 13 million people. The impact of lockdowns during the pandemic, according to the Centre for Social Justice, which produced the report, is that life is going backwards for many, with staggeringly high numbers experiencing mental health conditions.
Deep in my heart, there's a trembling question.
None of it is any surprise to people like Bobby, the man in this video made by a charity on Teesside.
How I look at things now, and I think to myself, well, could things actually get any worse than what they are now?
Yeah.
It works to get former prison inmates into jobs.
Getting out of the care which is provided for you, that is your biggest hurdle. Getting out of that, getting away from it and getting into something else, being able to step away from it, that is your biggest hurdle.
What we don't want to paint is a picture of a region that's on its knees without any due care for itself. But it's the gap, isn't it? It's these disparities from what's happening in one place and what's happening down the road is significantly different.
During the lockdown, at the end of lockdown, a massive rise in the amount of people drinking alcohol and the amount of people using cocaine. So that had an effect on it. People who were lonely, bored, lost, started drinking more.
It's clear the need is growing. The report paints a picture of lives marred by family fragility, stagnant wages, poor housing, chronic ill health and crime. The most disadvantaged in Britain are no better off than they were 15 years ago at the time of the financial crash. There's evidence that moving from welfare into work just isn't worth it for many people. And the report's authors say there is no sign that help is on the way. They also say our political culture is mired in a sense of pessimism and decline, and that with a general election on the horizon, the country desperately needs answers on how to close that gap between the rich and poor. Greg Milam, Sky News.